Hey yo, what's poppin', baby? It's your boy DAEVEION, the entertainment phenomenon, and today we're stepping into one of Disney's darkest, boldest, and most underrated masterworks. The movie that said, "We're gonna make a children's film about lust, guilt, religion, and moral corruption, and somehow make it slap." This is The Hunchback of Notre Dame that came out in 1998, the gothic opera that proved Disney could hit Broadway depth with blockbuster beauty. This wasn't just animation, this was a cathedral of emotion. See, one of my favorite movies. The premise, the outcast and the angel. We meet Quasimodo, the kind-hearted bell ringer of Notre Dame, hidden away by the tyrannical judge Claude Frollo, who raised him out of guilt after killing his mother. Quasi's world is bells, pigeons, and stone gargoyles until he sneaks out to the Festival of Fools and meets Esmeralda, the fearless Romani dancer with a heart of gold and a spirit made of fire. Frollo becomes obsessed not with love but control. He sees Esmeralda as temptation incarnate and wages a holy war against his own desire. Meanwhile, Quasimodo learns what it means to see beauty, not just in others but in himself. This ain't your typical princess meets prince. This is outcast meets oppression and still finds grace. The energy. Shakespeare meets Sunday Mass. The tone epic, tragic, mature. It's like the Les Miserables meets Beauty and the Beast in a cathedral during a thunderstorm. Disney took Victor Hugo's 1831 novel and somehow turned it into an animated musical that still had moral philosophy, sin, class conflict, and redemption arcs. And they did it with fire, choirs, and literal Latin chants. This was the Disney Renaissance going to church. Oh my, it was. We loved it. The soundtrack, the best one you forgot about. Composer Alan Menken and lyricist Stephen Schwartz cooked like they were scoring the heavens. The soundtrack doesn't play, it ascends. The bells of Notre Dame, a thunderous hunting opening that could resurrect stained glass out there. Quasimodo's Let Me Be Free anthem that hits your chest like sunlight through clouds. God help the outcast. Esmeralda's prayer that feels like it came from every soul society ever rejected. Hellfire, Frollo's villain song, a literal opera about sin and desire so intense it almost melted VHS tapes. Fun fact, Disney almost cut Hellfire for being too dark until test audience said it was the best part. They were right. Huh. What do you think? The aesthetic, Paris as holy art. The movie is gorgeous. Gargoyle stained glass, candlelight, and the architecture of Notre Dame rendered with divine precision. Every shadow, every flame feels alive. The camera work, yes, the camera work and animation was revolutionary. Wide cathedral sweeps, dramatic pans, and light beams cutting through dust like divine spotlights. Even the crowd animation was new tech for its time. They use digital simulations to create thousands of music festival goers. It's easily one of Disney's most cinematic films ever. The themes, faith, fear, and freedom, judgment versus compassion. This line between holiness and hypocrisy. Frollo preached salvation while embodying sin, isolation. Quasi's journey is creative, emotional, and misunderstood person going to learn to be love his existence. You know, Esmeralda fighting for her people wasn't subtle. Freedom, who is the monster and who is the man? That line right there, the entire point. It's heavy but real. The message, faith without empathy, is just fear in disguise. The characters, pure emotion in motion. Quasimodo, gentle giant, artistic soul, voice of empathy. Esmeralda, the original activist, beauty with backbone. Frollo, the scariest Disney villain because he's human, terrifyingly so. Phoebus, the honorable soldier turned ally, underrated. Gargoyles, the comic relief we all needed to survive the sermons. Every chapter and every character feels like a reflection of a human truth, love, shame, courage, and compassion. The masterpiece, this is the masterpiece that time misunderstood. Released in 96, earned 325 million worldwide, nominated for an Oscar, a Golden Globe for its music, sparked a Broadway style stage adaptation in Europe that learned even darker, closer to leaned closer to the book, you know. Its themes on empathy and acceptance aged better than ever. And in a world full of filters and fronting, Hunchback still feels like that real talk movie Disney almost wasn't brave enough to make. So let's just say, bottom line, the Hunchback of Notre Dame wasn't a fairy tale, it was a sermon about self-worth. It taught us that holiness without humanity is hollow. It reminded us that love is not about beauty, it's about bravery. And honestly, Hunchback didn't just ring bells, it rang the truth out of us.